I were to ask you to think of the word economics, what would you think of? Oftentimes, people hear the word economics and imagine complicated math, endless charts, or maybe even just guessing about the future. Economics is not guesswork. It is a science built on evidence, structured reasoning, and continuous testing. And today, I want to show you why economics is based on logic instead of guessing. First, let's define our definitions. What is economics? Economics is a social science concerned with description and analysis of the production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services. Secondly, what is logic? Logic refers to a science that deals with the principles and criteria of validity of inference and demonstration. And thirdly, what is guessing? Guessing is to form an opinion with little to no evidence. I have three main points, which are the use of data, foundational models, and applied verification. Firstly, the use of data. The first reason economics is not based on guessing is its use of data. There are three key topics: evidence-based foundation, pattern recognition, and economic guidelines. For evidence-based foundation, economists don't just make up claims out of thin air. They rely on measurable evidence like the GDP, inflation rates, unemployment numbers, and trade balances. These statistics provide a factual foundation for understanding how the economy actually works. Second are pattern recognition. Data helps us see meaningful trends. For example, when prices rise, demand usually falls, or when interest rates increase, the borrowing rates decrease. These patterns are not random. They are actually revealed through careful analysis of data over time by following human behavior. And thirdly, economic guidelines. Data is what guides decisions in the world. Central banks look at inflation data for changing interest rates. Governments track employment figures to decide on tax or spending policies. Even businesses analyze data on consumers before releasing new products. So without data, economics would be mere speculation, but with data, it becomes a science of understanding and guiding human behavior. Second, foundational models and theories. The second reason is the use of foundational models and theories. There are three key topics for this one as well, which are fundamental frameworks, simplification of models, and guided analysis. For fundamental frameworks, economics has models like supply and demand, market equilibrium, and for opportunity costs. And these are not guesses. They are logical frameworks that explain how people and markets interact, as seen by the graph on the left. You can see how each supply increases, which causes the demand to decrease, and vice versa. For simplifying complexities or the simplification of models, real economies are messy and complicated. That way, foundational models help simplify that complexity so we can focus on the most important relationships. For instance, the supply and demand graph shows us how prices are set, even though millions of factors are at play to change the price. And lastly, guided analysis. Models act like maps for economists. Just as a map simplifies the real world so we can navigate it, models simplify economic reality so we can understand and analyze it. In short, no models causes no economics, and foundational models give economists a way to explain and predict and not use random guessing. My third point, predictive validation. Finally, economics is not guesswork because of predictive validation. There are also three key points for here: theory versus reality, improvement of accuracy, and real-life application. For testing theories against reality, economists don't just stop at making predictions. They actually compare it to what happened previously in the past. If a forecast about inflation or employment turns out wrong, the model just gets adjusted. For improvement of accuracy, the process makes an economics self-correcting. Each time a prediction is tested, economics learns what works and what doesn't, which improves future forecasts. And for real-life application, predictive validation makes economists practical. For example, if raising interest rates lowers inflation as predicted, it confirms the usefulness of economic theory in shaping policy. So rather than being a shot in the dark, economics is a cycle of predicting, testing, and refining. And with valid results, causes a provable theory. In conclusion, economics is not based on guessing because it relies on data as evidence, foundational models as frameworks, and predictive validation as a testing process.